What's up everyone, in this video we're talking about Squirrel Girl, her kit, her T4 abilities, the best 5th members of the Young Avengers team, and of course which game modes is she going to be good in. So folks, if you want to get nuts, let's get nuts. Welcome back to Alternate Reality everyone, I am Chewburger84 and today we are back with more Marvel Strike Force content. Now, Squirrel Girl is one of those characters that a lot of us were like, meh, she's coming to the game. But when we saw her kit, it looks like she has some reasonable potential, especially with the Young Avengers and possibly by herself in raids. So we're going to go through her kit and her T4 recommendations first. Then we're going to go through some gameplay testing to see which parts of this game she belongs in and perhaps which partners are best used with her. But before we go into that, folks, make sure you hit that like button, smash that subscribe, and that notifications bell as well. Alright, so let's go through this kit. So first of all, she is a hero, city, bio support, young Avenger, and a friendship character. Isn't that adorable? Alright, so let's go through this. Her basic ability is going to attack the primary target for damage. It's going to attack the enemy with the most speed bar with a 50% chance of applying offense down, which is going to ignore taunt and stealth. Now, guaranteeing that offense down for a free secondary hit, it does seem okay. The thing is, with how infrequently she's going to be using this ability because of how low a cooldown her special is, I just don't know if this is worth it for this team. I think what you really want her to be a part of in this squad, this would be one of those T4s which is really down the list. It is not a higher priority for me, as good as getting that offense down is. Now, her Eat Nuts ability, however, is a different story. So it's going to heal all Young Avengers under 50% health for 15% of her maximum health, heal all allies for an additional 15, and then clear 2 negative effects from all allies. Now, when it comes to short form content, I don't know that having this is actually worth it on a T4, because with the speed gains that she gains from her passive in a Young Avengers squad, she is going to be constantly going and going and going, meaning that she's going to be able to get this off frequently, so you may not need it to cleanse everything. However, I have a feeling the thing that may make her relevant as a secondary or third raid team support or even, secondary heal character is being able to cleanse all negative effects. So this is definitely a T4. If you get lucky on her and you're going to take her up and you're going to use her, this is probably her essential T4. With Squirrel Army, this one's just going to do damage to everyone as well as bleeding and offensing down. It is on a 5 energy cooldown, which is within Young Avengers, that's not too bad. Outside of Young Avengers, it does seem quite long, even though it's an ability that can't miss. There's nothing really special here. Her attack doesn't shine. There's not going to be a ton of damage rolling out from this. So it's like, I can't really justify the extra 50% damage. Even at 7 red stars, I don't know that it's enough damage to worry about. Although that bleed at 7 red stars, it would be interesting to see how big that actually is. So I wouldn't recommend that T4 for this particular tomb. Then we come to her passive. Now, if you have a strong Young Avenger squad, I would recommend using this T4. If you're not, however, if you're just running her as like a raid secondary or something, I wouldn't do this. So what this ability does is when a Young Avenger drops below 50% health, give defense up to that ally, which is really good, and then fill this character's speed bar by 10%. Gain 10% drain. Young Avengers get 10% drain, meaning they're going to get 10% of their health back when they attack, 20% max health, and then Young Avenger allies 20% max health as well. So what happens is you get an additional 10% drain, an additional filling of the speed bar by 20%, which is pretty decent. And then Young Avenger allies gain that 10% drain as well. So it's a pretty good ability for that team. But if I didn't have a big Young Avenger squad, I don't think I'd do it. So I think the only real ability you need to have T4'd on this character is going to be this one. And again, I think the special, even only in raids, is the only time I would do it. DD3, I'm debating about her usability in DD3. The fact that she's city is amazing, and it can actually help that symbiote squad with the one negative they have in DD3, which is of course being heal blocked. When they're heal blocked, they're not going to be able to naturally drain themselves. That's a bit of a bummer. Add her into that mix, she may be the current best city healer that we have, and that's what we're going to find out today. We're going to move on now to some gameplay testing and have a look at what is the best 5th option for for this particular squad in those various game modes. Okay, so what we need to talk about before we go through to the next thing is which brawler is going to fit the last of this team. Now you might be asking, why does it need to be a brawler? Well, it doesn't have to be, but if you use a brawler, you're still getting that synergy with Captain Marvel. And the idea is we're going to try and find a brawler who doesn't have a permanent home already. And this can be quite challenging because in different game modes, there are characters that are used and characters that aren't used. So let's have a look. There's a couple of characters now that are almost homeless, all right? Those being Captain Marvel, Black Panther, and to an extent Wolverine. I mean, sure, we have a couple of guys down here that, you know, they could fit the bill possibly, but realistically those are our main ones, with Gamora being a possible fourth, but generally she hangs out with the Guardians anyway, depending on what you're using for your Blitz. So Captain Marvel is an incredible war defense character anyway, and if you were going to use this team on war defense, without a shadow of a doubt you would want her in it. The downside there is she's not going to get that military bonus, which really does make a massive difference in war defense. I think in the Blitz squad, she is definitely going to be the 15 member there, but as far as war defense, I think she has a pretty strong home already in a variety of teams. Now, Wolverine, unfortunately, is a relatively low-end character at the moment. He has a lot of synergy with X-Men, but he doesn't really lift that team up. And now that we have Beast around, I think he's guaranteed to be left out of a lot of those squads in most game modes. So he could be an option just as a warm body, and when he builds up to that ult, that's when he's really going to be able to cause some carnage in that squad. But for me, when it comes down to the war offense, I think Black Panther actually goes back onto this team, because most of us now have drawn Killmonger out of the Wakandan squad. Most of them aren't using Wakandas in the war defense or even war offense anymore. So Black Panther hasn't had a role for a while. Throwing him in as the 5th on war offense could be a logical place for him to now sit, to be able to get those assist calls from the Miss Marvel, to capitalize on the defense downs from the America Chavez. There's a few parts of this kit that really help him go into that next level. So I think the best all-around choice would be Captain Marvel, except if you're choosing war defense, in which case she may already have somewhere else. War offense for Black Panther, and look, if you get desperate, if you really want to keep Black Panther with his crew, you want to keep Captain Marvel with hers, Wolverine seems like the only real leftovers that's going to suit that team. So for today's testing, we're going to predominantly use Black Panther and Captain Marvel in Blitz at tier 8 to see how this team can hang. I don't know how well they're going to go at that level versus the meta teams, but we're going to find out in the next few minutes. All right, first Blitz team off the rank for tier 8. We're going to use the combination that has Black Panther. Now, my Black Panther is very big compared to the rest of this squad, so that means, unfortunately, we're going to be going up against a very beefy Iron Man here, which means I don't have a lot of faith in this squad. We've also got a Captain Marvel here, which is probably going to ruin us. We do have a Defender squad. That may be a better choice, actually. Yeah, it's all bad news for us, but let's go for this one because at least we could possibly clear out on the Luke Cage. Now, I know Defenders is not a meta squad, but let's face it, that's what tier 8 is about in Blitz. It's about dodging and ducking and weaving the matchups to try and get something that's just passably beatable with your squad, if it's not a top tier meta. Alright, so let's see how we go here. What do we got? Iron Fist. That's a 5, that's a 5. He's going to heal up a little bit anyway, so why don't we go out on Punisher out of the gate. Nice little assist there from our Captain Marvel. Now, here we don't really need the heal, but it will call in our highest tier damage character, which I'm assuming at this stage is going to be Black Panther. Now, if we get lucky, this is a bit of a gamble because I'm kind of wasting the heal here. On the assist call, what I'm hoping is he is going to get a kill. Not quite. Not quite. If he had got that kill, that would have been pretty great. Now, we definitely don't want Luke Cage to be able to get that defense out. So we're going to put that over on him. Alright, so I think we'll just finish off our friend here at this stage. I don't think we need to use that nuke. So we'll just use the basic for now. Going to feed out that energy to the rest of the squad, which is great because that heal that I just wasted, we've already got a little bit of that coming back. So this squad's actually pretty chunky. I'm surprised how little damage this squad is taking. I know it's Defenders, I get it. They're, you know, the definition of once meta, now noodle, but, you know, it's still relatively impressive. Alright, so let's see what this animation looks like. I really want to see the Squirrel Army. Oh, yes. See, I want an Ant-Man ability that's kind of like the same thing there, man. I'd really love to get her kill animation too, see what that is. Let's rewind JJ a little bit, just to make sure she doesn't cleanse off that cage before he does his thing. And that way we can just go through and punch a hole in his face as well. So Chavez is going to rip out of the gate. Alright, so I'm not going to lie, I know it's only tier 8.0, but I'm pretty impressed with the way this team did. I mean, even with just like making, you know, silly choices like trying to see if we could get Black Panther to go out, I don't hate that variation of that squad. I'm really surprised at the tankiness of that squad, especially with the power discrepancy that I have within that team. So what we want to do next, we're going to see if we can get a decent matchup. We're going to try Captain Marvel instead. I think she is just ridiculously stronger. I didn't want to use her out of the gate because I think it'd kind of hide the effectiveness of the squad. I think you could definitely manipulate these videos if you wanted to just go, oh, look, this team's amazing, even though they're being carried by Captain Marvel. So I think we know that this version's going to do pretty great. That's almost a mirror match right there. I don't think this beats Guardians. This is a pretty generic squad. 8.3. Again, the big power mismatch is the main thing that worries me. Where does it go to on that? Yeah, we're not going to beat a team with an 83k rocket, guys. So let's rock back into this one over here. Again, it's a non-synergy squad. At tier 8.2, 8.3, you tend to find that, you know, a synergy squad will usually beat a non-synergy squad. It's just the way it works. All right. Let's see how this goes. So we're going to try and find here is who is the one that got the most red stars. Okay, so it's actually Wolverine is our biggest threat. So we're going to use our biggest threat against their biggest threat. Nice little assist. Now, bear in mind, my squad here is nothing too spectacular. I mean, they're okay, but they're only around 40k at the moment. I'd be curious to see how this did a little bit later. Going to get that disrupt out on Hulk so that he can't use his taunt. Although he does cleanse a bit anyway, I suppose. We're going to punch a hole through Shield Medic here. That's great, finishing it off with the assist from Captain Marvel. I always do this. From our buddy Miss Marvel. Alright, hopefully that slap finishes off Elektra, which it does. Now that energy feed, I don't think we can underestimate how effective that's going to be for this squad, because so many people on this team have really low cooldowns. I mean, that was an absolute demolishment. I do think that that is the best variant of this team, because Captain Marvel just synergizes so well with any brawler squad. Then I think as well, if you need a space on war defense, you know, especially now that Marauders is going to be much better, and you want to free up Captain Marvel, you want to use her on offense to clear out some weird squads, I think she could really take that place. So they perform much better at tier 8 than I thought they would. Yes, we weren't against solid meta teams, but the fact that they can beat some teams at this level is more than encouraging, because things like X-Force did not perform as well as this. So I'm excited. Alright, so let's have a look at the next game mode. Alright, so let's see what this team has in war. Now, because I've got Captain Marvel on defense, because the war started before I bought Squirrel Girl, we're going to have to try and see what this team's going to be decent against. Now, I'm about 280 with mine at the moment. I have a feeling it can take this Sinister Six squad. Yes, we do have the issue of the Disrupt here, but I kind of want to try a punch-up. I know it's Defenders, but they do have a T14 character there and a T13 Iron Fist. I really want to see what this team can do. So I say we give it a go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what happens. So here we are, we got 280. So this is effectively a 50k punch-up. The question is, does this team have the goods? I have a feeling the answer is no, but I mean, we only know after we try, right? But if this team can punch up on 50 on a synergy squad, it'll make a good little clearance squad, that's for sure. But I do think that with that heals, this team may be a decent option on war defense. Like maybe throwing them in with Captain Marvel's the way to go. I'm excited to find out. Alright. I definitely do want to hit Daredevil here, but I know it's just going to be a free shot for Punisher. So we might as well just have a chip at him instead. Alright, now let's think here. What is this team not going to get? We want to make sure that they do get the defense up if they fall below 50% from Squirrel Girl. So I am going to use this. Alright, we're going to use the cleanse. Who do we not want to get what? Let's just put this out on KG Boy for now. Not that it really matters. We probably could have waited a turn there. But either way, it's 2 turns on the primary target. So he's still not going to be able to get his taunt up when that time comes. Let's think here. I think I might save the ults. No, you know what? We're going to do this now. I mean, he's going to take his turn anyway. So it probably was a little bit of a waste. He resisted the cleanse. He is T14, I suppose. So he does have that right. He's earned it. This guy has earned it. Alright, so we're going to start when these guys drop below 50%. We see that Squirrel Girl turn meter. And look at that from that energy feed. We already have that heal back up. So we get to use that heal. They're going to go back above 50%, meaning that if they drop below again, we're going to be in exactly the same situation. That's actually very, very good. It's very, very good. Now, turn meter rewind here. I think I want this to come out on our buddy Iron Fist. We'll just delay him a little bit more. Alright, that slows there, which is great. Okay. Now, another hit from Chavez. We really need this lad to go down. That defense down stacked up from that call-in before is very, very good. This should finish him off. Was kind of hoping that Panther would get called in for the assist there. That would have been a good little finisher. Now, she drops below 50%, so again, her turn meter goes through the roof. Now, what we do not want to do here is use that AoE, because we have counter stacks all the way along, so we are going to hit Cage. Now, one thing that I didn't plan for here, and I should have, is the fact that JJ cleansed, meaning that Taunt did in fact go out. What I want to do, because Black Panther is a little bit higher in this squad, is that I want to dance across to try and hit that Daredevil, so that way he uses his counter on my Black Panther, and not one of the ones that is nearly dead. Alright, we're clearing away. There goes that Luke Cage. It is very early here, folks. I'm recording this before work, which I don't normally do. So my brain, she ain't no function correctly yet. Alright, now that was a mistake because we're going to go bang, bang, bang. She's probably going to drop from the counters, I imagine. 1, 2, yeah. So that was a bad mistake on my part. Those dodgies too. Alright, so I might hit out the Iron Fist first, get rid of him. Even though damage-wise, the biggest threat is definitely Deadpool. So look, even with this mistake from my play here, well, I think we're going to go just fine. I mean, yes, my Black Panther is a little bit more on the beefy side. But it's still going to be very, very good as far as this squad goes. I got some confidence in this squad now after seeing it. I had some doubts, I got to admit. I thought they'd be too squishy. But having that extra health, having the defense up when they drop below 50%, the sheer energy feed and frequency that you're getting from Squirrel Girl on this squad, like even with a moronic play like you just saw, folks, I literally said to myself, don't use the AoE 2 seconds beforehand. But I get excited and I see buttons and I push them. A 50k punch up. I am not going to complain about that at all. Most of those characters were T9, T10. I have no problems with the way that just performed, folks. War offense, they're going to work fine. I think war defense with Captain Marvel, they're going to work fine. This is a flexi squad. This is a flexi squad for war, guys. I'm really excited about the potential of this team now. All right, on to the raid. All right, so we're on Ultimus 7. We're on difficulty number 3. This is our off day when we're in between testing things for D5. So what we're going to do here is run straight in. This is my first node of the day, so unfortunately we don't have any preloaded cooldowns. But I guess that's going to allow us to test. So what is the theory behind Squirrel Girl in the More and Order squad? This team has a weakness, and that is it doesn't have the ability to get rid of disrupts or heal blocks, which means it can be exposed, and when you're getting kills, Minerva can't do her thing. Squirrel Girl is going to be able to cleanse. She is also going to be able to speed herself up when her own health drops down. And the other thing she can do is when she uses that special on the low cooldown, she can also call in Black Bolt for an assist, very similar to what the Yo-Yo role plays as well. Obviously, Yo-Yo does something a little bit different by applying offense down, but the theory is stacking Yo-Yo with more isn't necessarily the best usage of that team, because you can use Yo-Yo on a secondary team if you wanted to, or even split Black Bolt out from this team if you've got a big enough AoE DPS, because that's what you really need, is something that's getting very regular kills, and ideally a Cosmic, so that Thanos can feed energy to that as well. Alright, we're going to taunt out of the gate. Now, normally on this particular node, I really like using the Cull Obsidian version of Ebony Maw. I think it is the best one. Alright, so let's get a tiny little heal there, and that's exactly what it was. It was very tiny. But mainly I wanted the assist call to clear what we just saw off there on our buddy Drax. Now, I'm going to go aggressive here because you want to get an early kill where you possibly can, because we need a bit of energy feed out, and ideally we need it to go to Thanos, because if we don't get that happening, we're not going to have enough energy for him to retaunt, and that is a big problem. Because when that second wave drops, you've got Carnage, you also have, well, who else is there? Spider-Man, who's going to do defense down. You really don't want them to have the option to hit someone who is not Thanos. So what we really need here is another kill. We're not going to get it because this is difficulty 3, which means that, yeah, they can take a punch. Got really lucky there, however. That was a nice little counter. So before the drop, we will get enough energy, I would say, to make sure that Thanos will get his taunt here. Alright. Let's see if we got there. Not quite. Okay, so what we want to do here then is we want to try and slow play this. You don't want to rush this kill. Unfortunately, because of Black Bolt, don't kill him. Okay, great. So why you don't want the kill there is that if we rush through, what would happen is that next wave that drops down, what would happen is you would not have Thanos with that taunt. And on this particular drop, that is bad news. Because ideally, you want to get Daredevil here, offense down. And of course, he dodges like a cheeky monkey. All right, let's have a look at what the threats are on the board. We're probably not going to kill Thanos. So Daredevil, realistically, with the amount of damage that he does, he is probably the biggest threat. It used to be in most teams, definitely the Mystique. But now that we've got defense up on Thanos, he's resisting because he's taunting. Even if Black Bolt is the one that gets calls in, he's not going to kill a T14 Thanos, even at T14 himself. And this is why you want Thanos here. See how much he resisted from that carnage? You know, takes a wet noodle attack from Moore. We're in a great place right now. So yeah, killing the Daredevil is the way to go. Because with how squishy Squirrel Girl is, because she's only 3 stars currently, with Minerva being so squishy because she's Minerva, realistically we do have to be careful when we have these big attacks going out. So again, our biggest threat on the board still is the new Daredevil, which has dropped down as well. So the real question we need to ask here is how much of what is happening on the map right now is because of Squirrel Girl and how much of it is because of More in Order. I will say I like the fact that we can cleanse out whenever we want. I will say that I don't think the heals here have been fantastic. I mean, we always knew that they would be relatively low, but they don't feel like they're doing much of anything. I will use this just to protect us to make sure I don't have to waste heal energy. So let's see how much healing we actually do here. Let's drop this down. We're going to get the heal. Alright, so we've got about 18 to 20k on average. I mean, she's not here to primarily heal, let's face it, but if she is supplementing what Minerva has, at bigger red stars, maybe that makes a difference. Maybe the dual heals between Minerva with her passive, Minerva with her ultimate, and then also that drip feed coming through from Squirrel Girl. But the fact that we don't have to worry about any debuffs at all, like with how frequently she's going, because she is quick, she's at 120 speed. We're able to keep those debuffs off pretty regularly. Now, Thanos does help with that, though, because he's constantly resisting when he does have Taunt up. But as a 5th member of this squad, even at 3 stars, I think you could justify putting her on. Would she be my first choice for a node like that? No, it would still be someone like Cull Obsidian or Symbiote Spider-Man, because I think they bring a lot more to the party, including that additional damage. So this is a safer team, so I think on very debuff heavy nodes or where there's, you know, a lot of Mordos or heal blockers, Squirrel Girl could be a plug and play character to a team like More in Order. When it comes to nodes where you need to get very regular kills to make sure you've got energy feed, she may be a liability in a team like that because she's not adding enough damage to that crew. So what do you think, folks? We've established that in Blitz, they're going to be great. In War offense and probably defense, they're going to be very, very usable. And Squirrel Girl, I think she is very plug and play. The fact she's going to call in, you know, every time she does that special, a big hit from someone, she gets a cleanse out across the board. And then, you know, I think she's got a lot in her kit to like. So I don't know that she's going to be one of the top tiers in the game, but any character that you can plug and play into a team that makes it better is always a winner for me. So if you're asking the question of should I buy Squirrel Girl if I'm an endgame player, if you're a spender, I'd probably think about it. Is she going to be as good as Emma Frost appears to be on paper? I don't think so. But I think that she's going to be very, very fun and probably change a few elements of the game. So I personally recommend her, and I do not recommend that purchase so far. So look, if you like this video, make sure you hit that like, that subscribe, that notifications bell. If you've got any comments or any questions, make sure you put them down there. Join our Discord. You're welcome to hit us up with more questions there as well. But until next time, cheers.